Hello and welcome back to Where Feng Shui Meets Fashion. Today I have joining me our first guest, Grace Vieira. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
I'm really excited about this, and
Yes.
I have to tell you that, or I have to share with everyone, my friend and neighbor, Catherine, actually introduced me to you.
Yes.
And when she was saying, oh my God, you have to have Grace on the show, I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And she was telling me that you're, this spiritual mentor and coach. But at the exact time, it was 4:44 p.m.
That's my number, you know.
Oh my God, it is?
4.
So Catherine and I are both, so this is an angel number, 444,
Yeah,
right?
Indeed.
And tell them what it means.
Well, 4 is unity, right? Is the 4 are the great masters from the Jesus, Mother Mary, Princess Mary, and Grandmother Anna. So it's a mighty 4.
Ah,
How would you think that?
It was 4:44 p.m. and I was like, and I got the chills, and so did Catherine. I'm like, yes, she's gonna be my first guest. Yes, that's it.
Yes.
And anyway, thank you for coming today.
Oh.
It means a lot to me, and
it lots to me as well. Thank you so much for inviting me and thinking of me. It's just extraordinary.
Yeah, it was very. It just felt like kismet,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
be at the right place at the right time, the right people doing the right thing. What can we say? I can't say no to that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. And so now, and before we turn the camera on, Grace was telling me a little bit about her background, but let's start from, you started off in fashion, correct?
Yes, indeed. I was born in Portugal, as I shared with you. Briefly, and at my 19 years old, I came logical New York. Where else would you go?
Oh yeah,
where else would you go?
Yeah, it's such an exciting city. Yes,
it's my city. Although I visit many cities throughout the world, but New York stays still my city. Always will be my city. And life as an immigrant, as you say, not speaking English, went through the grinding, but I was always a guiding light on my on my journey right here next to me, and I end up going to NYU, getting an education there. From there, I was planning at that time to go into law, and I had this teacher.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah, completely different. And this teacher, she took a liking of me, and she says, I know you'd be great at that, but you'd be even better in business. And I'm like, really? I said, well, that reminded me as a little girl and how I influenced my dad. So I'm like, okay, she's not so offline. And somehow I then, my sister-in-law was also going into college, and she goes, I'm going to go to illustration. I'm going to FIT. Grace, why don't you try? I'm like, huh? Anyway, and then was very interesting because I was doing some modeling at that time as well, hair shows and things of that sort.
You still have great hair, by the way.
Hey, it's the olive oil. Okay, give it
Yes.
all the benefits, the olive oil, that Mediterranean heat, and the olive oil does it all for you. So anyhow, and I end up then at FIT.
Okay,
and
yes.
I did the business side of it. And then from there, I did have, went in working Barney's, Madison Avenue. I did all the, high fashion work. And then from there, I had my own business as well. And then I went through a time of challenge. My mom was ill, so that because I was doing my own thing, my own designs, my own collection. And then after that, I went and I stumbled, actually guided again. It was funny, I was walking, when I found out my mom was ill with the terminal cancer, I just didn't want any more headaches in life, as we may say. And I just want to meet people from all over the world. Is that possible? Is there a job that offers you that?
Yeah.
And there is. And that's how it all happened. I was walking down Fifth Avenue and I had gone to Bergdorf. I'm like, oh, no store for me. I'm walking down. I passed by Fendi, just had opened like 6 months ago and looked like a museum.
Okay.
And I'm walking and there is like a church kind of thing after.
Yeah.
And the voice says to me, go back. And I'm like, back?
What voice?
The inner voice.
Your inner voice. Okay, gotcha.
And I said, go back, always listen. That's one thing, I'm a good girl, only towards my inner voice. And I go, and the rest is a story. So immediately I started to work, and I walk in, I said, okay, when can you start?
Where is this again?
This is in 19.
No, where?
In New York.
But what was the store?
The store was Fendi.
Fendi. Okay, yeah. I thought you said Fendi earlier, but I'm like, wait. So you went to work for Fendi?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how Fendi came. I knew about Fendi and all that. I had a dear friend of mine that actually wanted to work there. So anyhow, it started with Fendi. So I really was my oasis.
High-end.
I built their clientele. I already had worked with high-end clientele since, I met Jackie Onassis when I was, I don't know, I forget, 23 years old, 24, I used to help her.
She was so chic.
Yes, so I did. So I do not announce I always kept it very private because I love privacy, but I did Gloria Vanderbilt. I did help the society,
the fashion elite, yes,
elite of New York in politics in whatever area, and was amazing. Was magical.
I can imagine.
To have that experience. And so I kind of went, so Fendi was just a continuation.
Yes.
Of that.
But you got a little guidance to go to Fendi.
Oh, yes, always.
Yes.
My life always has been, and this is what is so important, talking about guidance, is that we sometimes get so busy.
Mm-hmm.
Busy in the head. That means zero, nothing. And we forget that the most important step in our lives is to take a moment and let ourselves go into the heart.
Yes.
And let the brain run, because the thought form is never going to stop, but let it run. But just remember, you have a heart as well, and moving into the heart, and just let the feeling, like, connect to that, what that might be. And that will lead you in your next step. It sometimes gives you, things like a color or a word or a number or who knows. But it's okay. Write it down. Make sure you remember it, because that may be a beginning of a big change. And that's what happened to me later on.
Yes.
So that voice, that inner voice, that's your magic. Keep it alive. But if you don't keep it alive, if you don't take that moment.
All right. So then how did you go from fashion to becoming a spiritual mentor and guide?
That's such a good question.
Because that's a big switch.
Yes, it is, because the world that I was, not only fashion, I did buying, and I moved with Fendi to Aspen, and I did create a world there for Fendi, which highly recognized by all the other brands, as everyone came to Aspen to see what Grace was doing. And that was the guidance that I was mentioning to you earlier, that little guidance when sometimes things just fall short on you. Like, as an example, is you have to work, is the beginning of the year, you're going to be extremely busy and your leg just locks. You can't walk. You got to be in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like not happy. And was through that, processing that moment, that I decided to just let go of everything and just go into my silence. And through my silence, the only word came was green. I love green. So to me it was like, okay, I love green. What's next? But it kept coming. And as that word kept coming, I just put it aside. And
The word green?
Green.
Okay.
Okay? Just the word green.
Okay.
I would go, green, the only word would come through. And it happened so this, I get to work that day at Fandy, and the director.
In Aspen.
No, this is in New York.
In New York. Now
In
you're
New
back
York.
in New York.
Not yet.
Okay.
This is what happens after. So then he announces that the family then was going to open a boutique in Aspen, because we were we were the Rolls Royce of the fur, as we still are, always will be. So Aspen was the perfect place. And at that time, I received an electrical shock, meaning a lady that was standing next to me was from Cuba. I know you from origin from Puerto Rico, but she was Cuban.
Yes.
She was next to me. She was
Lots of
tiny.
Cubans in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So they, and my body shook, and she goes, "Are you okay, Grace?" I said, yes. I knew exactly what that meant. After that, a month or so later, I had a vision of these mountains, in the green of these mountains. And I'm like, okay, where is this? And a house with this huge furniture. And I said, that's for giants. Move on. I go to them and I said, well, if you guys want, give me a beautiful pink box tied up, and I'll go to Aspen. They say, what? You are a mother. At this point, I had a daughter. A 12-year-old.
Okay.
So I had a daughter. I had owned my own apartment in the city. And my husband had a career.
Yeah.
And they said, you out of your mind. How would you leave this to go to Aspen, Grace? That's what the family wants, because I already was doing buying. The family wants you to go because they trust you, but you have a life. I said, excuse me? And everyone thought I had gone crazy.
Right.
I'd taken some dosage of some weird stuff.
Sure.
My friends, everyone sat me down. Grace, are you sure what you want to do? You are a New York girl. How could you go there? You're going to come back. I said, just leave me alone. I'm going.
Yeah. You're like, this is what I
So
want to do.
I'm going to check. I went there just to check it out, because they said, no, you have to go and check and look and meet. As soon as I get there, the plane lands in Aspen.
Right.
I walk down, because there you walk down to get to the landing strip. And I look up and I go, and come out loud. Oh, these are the mountains. Oh my God.
Were they green?
Just the same color that I saw, exactly the same. But if I had any doubt, we met with a wonderful lady. She was one of the head of the Aspen Art Museum. And she says, I would like to show you guys a home that she was building.
You guys, were you with your husband and daughter?
No, I was with the company now that took me to Aspen.
So you did leave your husband and daughter behind?
This is just, we're just checking now to make sure that was the right decision.
Okay, so
this is the preliminary work.
Gotcha.
The preliminary work. So they say, Grace, we have to take you there. And actually was the assistant of the director that both of us went. We went there for 3 days to meet everyone, to see if that was really, to find if there was a school that I wanted to bring my daughter. Not yet. I had given 100%. We just negotiated. It took 6 months to negotiate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The process. So anyway, I get there, and this lady takes me. Her name was Suzanne Farva. Beautiful, beautiful a lady. She takes us to visit this beautiful home that she had finished and decorated. And as soon as I walked in, that was the home that I saw. And what was there?
And you saw it in your mind, like
it was a vision. I mean, during the night,
right.
I have lots. My message or direction comes in many different ways.
In this case, it came in a dream?
In a dream.
Okay.
But it was, dreams are divided. There's dreams,
there's
and
dreams
then there's dreams.
I know.
Exactly. So this is
I'm aware.
dreams.
Yes.
And then it showed the furniture that was in, that dream.
Mm-hmm.
Was exactly the furniture I saw, which was extraordinary, like for giants. And I said, How could you ever?
Sorry, I was just looking for the remote.
You got? Okay.
I found it.
Okay, good.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it was just, that was like a sure. Like, you see, if you had a question, now you got your answer. The furniture was exactly the furniture for giants. It was there in this particular house.
Okay.
So it confirmed entirely.
So
that's
all
the
of
move.
the foreshadowing was confirmed on that trip.
Yes, the guidelines.
Yes,
the guidelines. And before that, I went with my daughter. So this is like in August. In October, we always did go upstate New York to Woodstock with my, my friend, the godmother, my friend, and the husband, my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go there because the foliage is majestic, right? So we used to go there every year. And we did go there at that time. This is before this whole thing. Well, this is the continuation of events. And I go there in October. And as we're walking down the street, my daughter says, I see this kind of very interesting character. I thought it was just a statue, very tall being with this long beard, long hair, with the huge staff, dressed like, Jesus times,
Sure.
wrapped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, interesting statue. And my daughter says, no, Mom, it's not a statue. We have to cross the street. He wants to talk to us. I said, Jessie, we're going to go over here on this side and let things over there. She goes, no, Mom, we have to go. And I'm like, okay, let's walk here. We cross. So anyway, the three of us, was my friend and I and my daughter, cross. He's in front of this typical, now they don't have those homes there anymore, like the Victorian tiny home,
pretty.
so sweet.
I love those types of homes.
He's there with his staff. He looks at me, you and my daughter, you come. And there was a little area, had a table, 3 chairs. And my friend wanted to come and say, you don't understand, you stay out. So we go in and we sit with him. And I look into his eyes.
What?
Into this little backyard. There was a little backyard right on the side of it.
Side of what?
Of this house, this Victorian house where you
so
was
he
at.
was just standing
He
in
was
front of
just
a
standing.
house,
Yeah,
and
like
your
a Victorian.
daughter saw this man.
Well, she received the message.
She received the message, but she saw the same thing that you saw, but you thought it was a statue.
Well, I saw from far away because at those times you don't have individuals walking around like that. So we were far, like 2 blocks.
Okay, got
more or less. And she receives a message that we needed to speak to him. And I said to her, that looks like a statue. And she goes, no, Mom, it's a man.
Got it.
Oh, so then I said, okay, let's go over here, check out the man, and then we cross.
Yes.
And when we got there, he says, go and come with us. So we sat down and he immediately says, yeah, you're moving west. And you continue to go west. And I said, west. Yeah, I'm planning to go to Colorado. And I said, yeah. Oh, you'll have very successful, lots of fun, but you continue to go west because that's where your work starts.
Ah.
And I was, what work? I'm already working. I said, oh, honey, no. You don't understand. And he had these most majestic golden eyes and he had perfect skin. So I said, why do you have a white beard if you have such perfect skin? Anyway, I'm naughty and I ask questions like this. And he said many things that one doesn't remember. I just remember you go west and you continue to go west. And I said, go west. Okay. And you're going to be offers to go many ways, but your journey is to go west. So I'm like, going west. Okay.
So,
and that changed the journey in a way. It was, again, a message that came through a great being. He was a magnificent being that came to give the message. He had the most amazing staff with this crystal to this day. It was just like honest stuff. Oh my God, it was so majestic.
Sounds like in a movie. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, could be a movie.
Like a character in a movie that like.
Yeah.
And,
Merlin's character, Moses.
Yeah.
I'm saying a mighty being like that, right? A mighty being like that.
So do you think this was not a human?
No, he wasn't human. He was an ascended being. Because.
But your friend saw him too, right? The one
yeah,
that
sure, she can see. Why not? They can't be made visible to us.
No, but
she saw.
So she saw him.
Oh yeah, to this day she talks about that weird one.
Yeah.
I know you interesting, Grace, but that was interesting.
Okay.
And then she wanted to know everything, and I came out of there, just remember one thing. I go west, continue to go west. And she goes, what are you talking about? That's what I'm supposed to do. You go west, continue to go west, because there is, you're gonna teach the masters. This is
got it. Okay.
You're gonna teach the masters. I say, I'm gonna teach the masters. What am I gonna teach them? Anyway.
Yeah.
But life, again, the most amazing thing was that we walked away after we finished.
Yeah.
We walked away. I turned around. He was gone. The chairs were gone. The table were gone.
It was all gone.
Oh. And I was like, okay. Didn't we just sitting there? Yeah, it's all gone.
And your daughter saw it too.
Oh, she was sitting.
So, but did you both turn around and see like, oh my God, it's gone?
Sure.
And did you say something to each other? Like, what?
No, there is between myself, my daughter, we have a great understanding.
Sure.
That you can, if you just believe that we just exist for the sake of existence, and this is it. Well, God bless you.
Right.
Okay. I have compassion for the great understanding, because we ought to respect and have compassion for one another, no matter what level of consciousness one carries. Because if one happens to carry a little bit higher, more conscious than the other, that's that one responsibility to assist the lesser. Because the lesser
holds space.
Yeah. Not only hold space, but to have a deeper respect. We can hold space and have a judgment in that space. Okay? Because the brain, the thoughts are not talking. The voice talks, right? But the thoughts, the thinking that goes on, and the emotions that percolate that thinking, you may be in silence, maybe be judging. If you're judging yourself, just as simple as that, you automatically are judging the world around you.
Of course.
Because everything comes from you, the fountain. That's your fountain. You call the fountain of youth, the fountain of light, the fountain of love, the fountain of blessings, the fountain of judgment and criticism and blame and the projecting things to others, or whatever the story goes on. It's because the individual is caught in that story through the wounds and the hurts that have been conflicted from the environment.
Yes.
From not only the environment, this life, right? So you have your environment of this life where you chose to be born, the family you chose because it would be the family to assist you to elevate your consciousness more.
Sure.
Okay. So we do make those choices. I mean, it took me a while to get that one, but I got it. So we do make those choices, by the way, making it and having ownership of it.
Yeah, I think it's empowering. Like some people are like, oh, that's like blaming yourself for things that I'm like, no. I find it so much more empowering once I learned that lesson as well. Instead of feeling like a victim of my circumstances, I'm like, no, I chose this. I'm learning something from this. I'm growing from this so that I can grow beyond it.
Exactly, because we have, unfortunately, we have been, hasn't been any information, okay, that tells the truth. There's thousands of books, I don't know, more than thousands, millions of books, right, out there, that one says one thing, the other says the other says, it's very confusing that if you read them all, you become cuckoo. And at the end of the story is they all were written by individuals with their own limitations, including these sacred books that we know, the Bible and this and so forth.
Sure.
Those are books, they were written by men with their preconditioning, and their precondition was the fear of good and evil. I do a good thing, a bad thing. So they may have written 3 words that are good words, but in order for you to find the answer or study them or understand them, you need the other 3 words, but they're not there. I wonder why, because then you'd be too wise. So due to this journey that we all have had together for thousands of years, but specifically in the last over 2,000 years, but before then as well. And through the lives, we all had many lives. No one is, oh, I was just born. Oh, I'm new here. No one is new. At least
we've all been around the block a few times.
800 lives, at least. Okay, the ones that are saying, why am I here? What am I here? What's coming? 900 lives. Other than that, been here 1,000, 1,200. So let's be clear. And we all are old souls, by the way.
All of us?
All of us. We all created at the same time. Okay? A mighty group that came in with a free will to create or destroy. Okay? So we are old. What happened to lots of us, right, was we fell from grace. What does that mean, falling from grace?
We fell from grace.
Falling from grace, we fell from our divine mother.
Okay.
From the mother, from the essence of divine love. We fell from the creation. Okay? So we fell and fell and fell and fell. So we became, because it was our journey, because we live in a world of a third dimension, which is a world of experience. You experience this glass. If we were not in the third dimension, we could not see this glass.
Right.
Because only here can we see it. That's why we have a body.
Right.
If you're in a fifth dimension, we may have a body, but we're translucent. We're just gorgeous, right?
So wait. So I thought you've probably heard the term 5D, 3D, 5D.
Sure.
And then a lot of people say, we're on an ascension journey, and,
sure,
and many of us are heading towards 5D.
To the fifth dimension. 5D, a fifth dimension. Right?
Yes. So, but my understanding of it is that it looks the same. It's
a consciousness. It's a rising of your consciousness.
Yeah, it's not like it feels different, and it's energetically different, but it's still, won't we still see the glass?
Yes. The fifth dimension, as we are so blessed to be here at this time, because we are together, meaning our beautiful planet, with all our creatures, we all together rising to the fifth dimension, or 5D, if you want 5D, to say that word, okay? 5D. Does not exist 4D, another thing. Does not exist. The fourth dimension has been dismantled because that's where there was a lot of the psychic madness. Okay? So that has been dismantled. So there is just, now we're just rising to the fifth.
Skip a grade.
Yes, but we have to do more work.
Yes.
So usually it's like that, right? But the work is trust, though. It's not, it's so easy and so complex because of the complexity, the way we have been trained, enslaved, I may say.
Sure.
To learn, to be, and to act.
Yes.
Okay? Once you really, and that's where my love goes out, is to the greater understanding how everything came about. I was always like this, by the way. No matter fashion or no fashion, that was Grace. Grace would finish her buying in one day when they took 2 weeks. Because that's how it was. When you have it, you have it. You just don't know you have it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I forget it. If you tell me 20 years ago that I would be doing what I'm doing, I would say, yeah, you lost it.
Oh, wait. I want to go back to the old man.
Oh, that.
With the perfect skin and the beard and the gray. How old were you when that
I was
message
38
came?
years old.
Okay. Great. I'm going to take a quick pause and then turn the camera back on we're going to take a bathroom break.
Yeah,
and we're back. We're just having a little
fun.
Little cat time.
Kitty time.
So we were at, you were 38 when you had that sort of message with the messenger. And then what?
So that gave me, and that's when I moved to Aspen.
Yes.
And is interesting enough, I did not know I was pregnant. So I had a little girl in Aspen. I was 39. And
so you had a second daughter.
Yeah, I had a second daughter in Aspen. And so I then moved to Aspen. No, it's so
cat
sweet.
Is like attacking her feet. He'll start biting them too, though.
Oh yeah.
So, yes. Sorry.
He's giving.
He'll just give you like he'll nibble on your toe to get your attention.
So sweet. So anyway, I moved to Aspen, and Aspen was, just as it was said, highly successful. This is another story how Mother Mary. As we were chatting about Mother Mary,
the Virgin Mary,
the Virgin Mary,
Mary Magdalene as well.
Mary Magdalene, that's different. Talking about Mother Mary now.
Mother Mary,
okay. And so anyhow, I developed an amazing relationship with a dear friend of mine from Brazil, which she was, not sure if you all are familiar with, but she was her father was a lawyer, but as a philosopher, but also the right arm of Chico Xavier.
Chico Xavier.
He was one of the number one amazing spiritualists at the time. Okay, you can Google him. He was extraordinary, beyond actually. Is very popular all over Europe, but here many people also are aware of Chico Xavier. I did not know, because my life was fashion and world.
Yes,
was Italy and trips and things and fun stuff and a lot of work, hard work, as you know, because you were there. One of the toughest industries. So anyhow, and so she feels my pain. She was one of the wisest women that I've met.
So Chico Xavier is a woman.
Is a man.
Oh, it's a man.
Is a man in Brazil, and my friend or my client friend was his goddaughter.
Okay.
So then she said, "You're in such pain. I want you to come to Brazil, and I'm going to take you to Chico Xavier." I said, "Who?"
Oh, it's your friend.
Friend invited me. Yeah, that's so you understand.
Yeah, I was like,
so you understand the Mother Mary.
Got it.
So anyhow, so I said, okay, I'm supposed to go. I go. So I went, and then was for Easter. And then my husband, my child as well, but then they came back, and I continued to go to Uberaba in Brazil, where he was at the time. He has passed. And when I went, I never seen so many buses and people in my life. I thought, oh my God, I never experienced like that. So when I got there, I was able to see him, and in a very tiny, and I saw these golden eyes, and I was just mesmerized. But the most profound experience was that he held my hand, and for 1 week, I was trying to remove the rose scent from my hands that couldn't come out. I said,
why would
what
you
happened?
Remove that?
No, because I don't know if you ever heard that story before, but I had not. So I came home, and I kept saying to my friend, look, my hands smell roses. She goes, really? That's good. I told to her father, really? Oh, like this smirk smile? Mm-hmm. I'm like, what do you all know that I don't know? They never said anything. Okay. I spent all my life like that. Everyone, yeah, Grace. I'm like, what was that about? So anyhow, that touched me deeply than I thought, at that time. It just, I did grow up with Mother Mary. My dad only loved Mother Mary. I mean, we have.
But I want to go back to, what did Chico Xavier say to you?
He said, basically, just say, pray for me. I held his hand, and through his hand, the energy of the Divine Mother went into my hands, and the energy of the Divine Mother is expressed through the rose, the scent of the rose.
Yes, I know that.
And that's what occurred.
And then the scent stayed with you.
Stayed with me. So that was quite a profound message.
Yes.
But I went back to work.
Of course. Yes.
That was it. Then Aspen came after. So this is the sequence of events, right?
Right.
Aspen came after, and I always hiking those mountains, say, I've got to go west. And then I'll look. I'll ask my husband, where's west? California, Grace. I said, really, California? Because I never thought of going to California. Then I had many opportunities to go to Florida, back to New York. Then I'll go, but wait a minute, that's not west. No, I can't go. I can't go. I got to go west. And that's when I mentioned earlier, if you do have that feeling inside of you, it's like you can't, just the feeling, that connection. And whatever the message is, don't question, just relax, put a beautiful smile, and just show it to me, show it to me, show it to me. Okay? That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
But don't add stuff to it.
Right.
Don't make it a picture. Don't no, just say, oh, I gotta go west. Okay.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, again, I was for my birthday, I was invited to go to Australia, the most amazing trip in my life, in a Learjet with my client to see the most majestic pearl farms. That was just a dream.
The most majestic what?
Majestic trip that I ever had.
No, but to see
the pearl farms.
Pearl farms. Okay. Yeah, I was like, what?
Amazing.
Okay.
So when I got back, and after this amazing trip, right, after I think we were there like 13 days, 2 weeks later, I have a message from the main office saying, Grace, we need you in California.
Now you're going west.
I'm like, that's west.
That's west.
And
we're in the
above
west.
all, not that I made more money, by the way. I actually, in a big run, I took a cut.
Interesting.
Okay. So it's not based in money. And, there was a very important message I forgot to mention with the man with the long beard.
Yes.
I said to me, why me? Why? He goes, you're going to be tempted. I said, tempted with what? They're going to offer you opportunities that you're going to think about. And I said, I never made decisions based in money. Why would I do that? He goes, that is why I am here. Okay? This is crucial.
Okay.
Because we have been trained to make decisions based on money.
It's very compelling in the material world.
There we go. So I just say, coming from a world of the high fashion and really have experiences with the wealth of the world from the
elite.
I with the Dubai, the Princess of Dubai. I took care of her with the Princess of Jordan. Many royalties and many. So with the elite of the world, and I say, what is extraordinary is that the elite of the world really respect and appreciate when you have respect and appreciate yourself. I was never, ever in a second being, in words or actions, disrespected by it, just by the lesser of those. Okay? Not the elite, the lesser of those. The new rich or whatever you call it, the lesser of those. That's where situations get messy. Mm-hmm. But the creme de la creme is extraordinary. I had most majestic experience, and I was profound, which has led me to a greater understanding about the people.
Yes.
And so decisions, that's decisions based in money, right?
Yes. So he warned you about that.
No, he didn't warn me. He said, the reason I'm here is because you never did that. Aww. He did not warn me. That was not a warning, it was a certification.
But he did say that you would be tempted, is what I mean.
Yeah. And I said,
that's the warning I'm referring to.
Yeah,
but you're like, I don't care.
I don't care. And he says, that's why I'm here. So he confirmed. So this is important. When you receive a message, that there's nothing or no one that can deviate you from fulfilling that message.
And also, you know, we were talking a little bit before we turned the camera on about my experience with Mary.
Yeah, exactly.
During a plant medicine journey. And I remember when she said, you need to go back to being the feng shui lady. I said, I don't know how, because at the time I was running this this platform, I guess. I had inherited this platform, a digital platform.
Yeah.
And it was like for woo stuff.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was a long story, but I did that, and that was happening during COVID.
Yeah.
And I was financially, I'd gotten my family involved. I had friends involved, and we were, I thought I was going to be running this network, which is pretty crazy. But I hated it so much.
Yeah, you despise the thing.
I was like, oh, I've got all this responsibility, and it's so much work, and I just I don't like playing this role. I missed just being the feng shui lady, you know?
Exactly.
And so she gave me permission, not just permission. She's like, you need to stop doing this. Go back to,
she gave you a nudge.
You're the feng shui lady, she said. I was like, okay, all right. She's like, but like I said, I didn't know how I was going to get out of the financial and infrastructural situation in contracts. Yeah. I was like, I had a contract for this anyway. And she's like, help is on the way. Help is on the way. And she was right. Like everything that seems so impossible.
There we go.
So impossible.
Yeah.
Somebody bought me out.
Yeah.
They made the transition, and all of a sudden this weight was lifted. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to do this anymore.
There we go. There you go. Isn't that amazing?
Though? I was like, thank you. And so I did what she told me to do.
Yeah.
And when you follow,
there we go,
the path, the messages, things work out.
Well, because you're working then with the unseen and the unknown, and working with the unseen unknown takes faith
and courage,
and takes trust and courage and persistence.
Yep.
And a journey of seeing what gets in a way that you have taken in, thinking was your own, but it's not, but you have taken in and is blocking you from seeing the clarity, the truth behind what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's that journey also on doing these knots and undoing what you have. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey, it's a path, it's a journey. But the magic of it is as you undo it, like, you pull a thread of the ball of yarn, you keep pulling it, and you're going to see that different situations rise, different opportunities occur, different people come into your life. But remember, it's all about you, your individual. It's about you finding what is that I feel right now. It's about that question. Is always going in, questioning, because everything is within us. Okay?
Yeah.
We have been created in perfect image as who created us, the great beings who created us.
Okay. So
with
now,
creation. That created the flowers, that give the seed of a tomato.
Yeah.
We just did not the seed. The seed of a plant, a tree, that came in a seed this big, right? Little seed.
Yeah.
And look how big trees can grow, as tall as mountains.
Yeah.
Give a whole shadow to a mountain, right?
Right.
They came from a seed.
Yeah.
We come from a seed.
Well, and that reminds me, I think it's a Chinese proverb, but the bigger the tree is going to be, the bigger the roots are. So
Indeed.
The longer it takes for it to sprout, because it needs a really strong foundation.
Indeed.
So anything really big that you're trying to do,
yes,
it may look like nothing's happening for a long time.
Indeed.
Like a long time.
Yeah.
And then one day
it starts sprouting.
Yeah. but it needed that foundation to be able to
Indeed.
hold that tree up.
You just described my life. That's amazing.
But yeah, so let's
That's
kind
amazing.
of fast forward a little bit to then to how
Today.
we got here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
How we got
How did we get here? Or how did you get here?
through listening within me and realizing California, yes. And as soon as I came to California, things start changing very much. Great level of meditation for hours and hours and hours in silence. And really, I knew that I was here for a purpose, like we all are. I'm no different. I'm just like everyone else. And I just followed very much, very intense, because I was married, had children. I left my career.
You left your career
Mm-hmm.
when you moved here?
Yep, 2 years or so later, I left my career because the marital was going a little sideways and things needed to be perked up. But what I had then, my youngest daughter was 7. So then I left. I had to leave in order to follow my work, and I still following that work. And so it was, it took me everything that I did not know I had, though we do have. And my daughters were fully aware. Actually, my little one, I never forget that. I was driving her to work and drive her to school. Mm-hmm. And she says to Mom, I chose you.
Aww.
And you have to fulfill what you're here to do. And she doesn't remember logical, because it was just a message to free me from the guilt.
Yeah.
She not even say, Mom, but the point is, our children are also on our vehicles of communication. And one thing was, I always incorporated my family in my entire journey. Just when we finish contracts, could be with our husbands that we have been together for almost 30 years. Mm-hmm. I married, I was 19, so it was long years. And our contracts just finish. So you need to move on.
So you left your job and you left your husband.
A year and a half later.
Okay. And now what exactly, when you say your work, what was the work that you were doing?
And then at that time, I used to go to a shaman that actually at that time he was working with the John of God. At that time,
you know what happened with
that's now, not that.
Okay.
This is many years ago, and we have to respect those times. Time frames are very important. So he at that time. This is, I tell you, oh gosh, my daughter is 26. She was 6 years old, 20 years ago. Very different times.
Yes.
Okay. And I was guided, because the first time I went to this shaman, and we were in silence first time.
And where was the shaman?
In Ojai.
Oh, I love Ojai.
Uh-huh.
Very woo. Very woo.
Yeah, very woo in Ojai. And I don't know where he is now. Bless his heart, was a lovely individual. And I went in for about 4 years straight. And then after a while, 2 or 3 years later, this whole thing with John of God. God bless his soul.
And I have a connection. I had a girlfriend who had cancer.
Yeah.
Breast cancer. And she went to him.
Yeah, I have many people that did.
But she was also she shot a documentary. And it's that whole thing. This before, obviously
before
everything blew
the
up.
mess. The
mess.
Before
the mess.
The mess.
But
it's
so
really,
I have feelings about.
I do. I do. I don't. It's
him.
not
feelings.
I have. I understand why those things happen.
Oh, I do too, because I also had a friend who's a healer,
mm-hmm.
like an intuitive healer.
Mm-hmm.
She can, kind of like what Carolyn Mace does, where you read the chakra system. And she went and actually worked with John of God with those people. And the way she saw it was that, yes, he had this gift, but
I never went there, so I never met the person in person.
yeah. But in any case,
But I was a medium here in Ohio. Was a medium. My daughter was a medium there. Actually, my husband in the beginning also was a medium there. And in the beginning was a place that I could go and be in silence. And the reason I did was because I stayed, because I would not go anyplace else. Since I was very little, I was always warned not to go nowhere. So the reason I did was because was actually a dear friend of mine, actually, that took at that time was an acquaintance, became friends after, and she took me there. And I said, this is interesting, I just arrived from Brazil, I'm saying I don't have any place to go, this woman offered, I'm going, right?
Yeah.
I did. And as we sitting there, she did not know my name in Portuguese at all. And as the shaman comes from, and is still all,
this is in Ohio.
In Ohio, he starts trying to speak Portuguese.
Who does?
The shaman.
The shaman starts.
Is receiving the message from Chico Xavier
in Portuguese.
In Portuguese, says graça, and says my name in Portuguese. You are safe here.
Okay.
But he did not know in Portuguese, logically.
Right,
I'm not going to say, because you all don't understand.
Yes.
And did not even know what he was saying. She was sitting next to me and said, who's that? Is that your name in Portuguese? I said, yeah. And I just cried, logical. Chico Xavier he transmitted that message for me. And I said, I'm safe. So I did go for 4 years, but I did receive through a dream, I call it dream, it is a vision, through a vision that what was going to happen. I mean, going to happen, meaning the energy was being pulled. Because remember one thing, what happens with, this is us, we have a responsibility. If we, as individuals, have arrived at a place that we have, we are guided, no?
Yes.
To be a conduit, to be a guide, to be a facilitator to our brothers and sisters, because we all are. Then we have a huge responsibility, and that responsibility is we have to clean, excuse my French, your own shit before you do the job, okay?
Right.
And because if you don't clean your own shit, that is going to show up, and you're never doing the work, and the individual that comes in at your mercy is not receiving anything. May receive something temporarily, but that is zero. You are just, it's just a full-on nonsense. So I was, when you do that kind of work, him as an individual, do you think he had, in order to do that work continuously, and he healed many people, many things happen in the beginning.
Yeah.
No question. But after that, forget it. I don't want to talk about it, because I only can say I send light to the soul, nothing else. I have compassion, because what happens is if you do not clear yourself and you become as powerful as he became, the dark is always awaiting to go in, and goes in what? Through the area of sex, of addictions, and so forth. Isn't that true? Sure. That's history. So I was not surprised at all, because how much work has he done cleaning up? Also, I am not sure.
The thing with
money gets, again, remember the story with money? Yeah, like our great beloved master that showed up? Money. Money turns people, they just forget that humility is the essence of life.
Absolute power corrupts. I mean, but here's the thing with John of God. He had that gift as a child.
Sure.
He didn't even go and he didn't have an education, nothing. So
this is not education, my love.
Right. But I mean, he didn't go to school or anything.
No.
So my point is that he was surrounded by people that because he had this gift, they were profiting from it.
Indeed. And they wanted more. And he, just lost his way. There we go.
And
there we go.
He
just said
he had a
lost
gift.
His way. Bless. That's why I say bless his soul.
And I think it's just as important who we surround ourselves with.
Exactly.
Because, birds of a feather flock together. So if he started off good, but then he was surrounded by
gold diggers, or whatever you want to call
And
people
also
that,
people offering him things and
yes,
whatnot.
yes,
In
yes, yes,
and yeah, and
It's-
back to absolute power can corrupt.
Yeah, yeah.
And it does.
yeah. And then there is fame. You see, fame is very well. We see it in our own backyard here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's we have to learn, and not so much learn. We require to never forget that everything, it comes from within, is always there for you.
And we all have a shadow side. It's whether you feed it or not, you know?
Doesn't hello?
Yeah.
Hello? We have been living, and yet now is shifting in a duality of yin yang, and this and that, and that
Dark
and the
and
other.
light, good and evil,
You know.
yeah, black
So
and
what do you
white.
want? Religion?
Oh God! I mean, think about the church, the Catholic Church, for God's sake.
It's only the Catholic Church. Is
Ow.
every religion.
Yeah.
Don't be. I mean, I don't. You got to see by what it's seen. You got to look at the roots.
Yeah.
And the roots come an eye for an eye. Had that been changed? No. So what's happening? What's happening is there are beautiful people that go to church, and they are beautiful people that are religious.
And there are beautiful passages in the Bible, and there's also some
exactly.
really scary ones.
Yeah, well, there are beautiful people everywhere. It's just the what comes in with the majority that abuses the power, abuses the innocent.
Right.
And that is because, why do they abuse the innocent? Because the innocent do not know, have no idea that anyone, no matter where you are, could be in the streets, could be in a toilet. It don't matter where you are. You always have a moment in your life to breathe, to connect your heart, and realize that there is something so precious in there, because if that heart would not beat, you not be here. Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm. So, okay, I want to go back to you said you kind of brushed over mediumship, and I'm like, wait, where'd that come from? You didn't say anything about medium. So tell me about the mediumship that you did.
Mediumship is a very interesting word, that it's like something you in the medium between the higher, the voice above, or the essence of truth. I never considered myself a medium. I am more clairvoyant.
Okay.
Because a mediumship is such a responsibility on an individual. I am a responsibility, because if you have not cleared your shadow,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if you have not cleared your shadow, when you are at service, being a medium, you're not going to connect to the source that your wishes, your desires are to be at service to someone else, because you have the mud that is around you, the perceptions, the belief systems, the conditioning that is around you, the thought forms.
Mm-hmm.
It is impossible for that heart to be so open in order to connect. Okay, it just doesn't work. You have to enter into the sacred fires. I don't know if you've heard about it, but the sacred fires is the key for purification. Beloved Saint Germain and the violet flames, I've been working since I'm in my 20s with the sacred fires to purify, and purify is the alchemy. Okay. I'm sure you've heard about Merlin, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the purification, the alchemy that requires to occur in your mental, your emotional, your physical, your cellular structure, your environment that requires to occur to open a way to the light and the love, then to feed that way, or the peace, which is a quality of love.
Okay, so you're not a medium. You don't want to do, you don't, but you did some mediumship.
Sure.
And you consider yourself more of a clairvoyant.
Yeah, I mean, mediumship is I am a conduit.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a conduit. I'm a portal, in other words.
Right. But can you explain what clairvoyant means? Because some people may not know. Because there's a bunch of different clairs.
Yeah, I mean,
but explain clairvoyant.
I mean, I can only explain what I feel, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's all. To me, clairvoyance is really, you're looking into.
Isn't it a knowing?
It's an inner knowing.
Yeah.
It's an inner knowing that I'm very much like a puzzle. Okay, so I look at life as a puzzle. I look at everything as a puzzle. So the clairvoyant is the individual that is able to see the puzzle. Okay, and to connect to the puzzle and see, that's it, the piece that is missing. It's the individual that allows, like an eagle, that fly and let it see what is ahead. But you kind of know, because through your inner knowing, you kind of know what's ahead, but you don't know between here and there. You just flow, you just go, and you just see, and you just feel. Is a feeler.
Okay.
Is very much, it's like sometimes you see, especially working with the clients, the client, whatever situation is going on with the client, could be business, personal, doesn't matter. Everything comes from the same source, from that individual, no matter what issue you're going through. Is it personal? Is it business? Is it relationships? Is it children? Is it, everything comes from you, the source. So when you work with an individual, you work on everything. And is looking at it's looking at what's the root of it. And it's one blessing, many blessings, that to be very analytical about what it is, the truth of what it is here, what's present, and how to bring an understanding to the individual, to my client, to see, so the person can see it.
All right, I want to make this more concrete for people.
Yeah.
What exactly do you do in your work now that you came? So you came from fashion, you had a journey, you had a lot of guides and guidance along the way that confirmed, like, this is my path.
Yeah,
this is
many voyages.
And then you finally were like, okay, I'm doing this work, this clairvoyant work, but maybe like give it some form for them. Like, now, what is it exactly that you do? When I know you're a spiritual mentor and coach.
Yes. Well, what I do is I am the source that brings the clarity, the purification, and the alchemy to whatever is going on in the individual. It brings the individual into an equilibrium. I clear the bloodlines.
How?
Through the sacred fires. And through my own power connection.
So it's like an energy work?
It's energy work.
And it's almost sounds like you're kind of doing therapy in a way.
It is true.
But then there's this more spiritual modality.
Exactly.
With the energy work.
Yes.
And then the clairvoyance is your ability to see
and
what the client issues are, what the missing pieces.
That's right.
For example.
Yes.
But I'm just, because people are like,
no, you're excellent. You're doing an amazing job.
What is that? It sounds
it's complex.
Really nice. Yeah. But we want to land the plane for somebody who's like, I don't know what clairvoyant is. I don't know what you're talking about. What the F?
Perfect.
Because a lot of people are like, they're curious, but what does that look like? So let's say I'm your client and I come into your office, like, and then I also want to back up before I'm your client. did many of the people that you worked with before, did they then become your clients?
Oh yeah, I have
Because
clients for 10 years already. Same people.
So they were the same people that you'd been building this,
Yeah, I work with families. So I start as an example with a grandma, which I have a story like that.
Okay.
She was a grandma, which now is my oldest client. She's 87 years old.
Okay.
So my clients have been from 4 years old to 87.
Okay.
Okay, just the range. And has been, so I start working with her, very successful. So there was no lack of anything. Besides, she recognized her relationship with her daughter was not the way, or her children was not the way.
We're talking about the grandmother?
The grandmother.
Client.
So I'm just saying one situation. This is, no, I have older the clients, I've worked longer with them, but she's probably quite a few families from her. So I work with the family. So I work with the family, whatever issue goes on in the family, right? And I've worked with the death of her child, okay? Assisting the family. I've worked with another family with the father was before passing, worked with him to assist him to the great understanding the passing through, okay? I work with the teenagers that are dealing with substance and
Abuse,
issues,
yeah.
abuse. I work with the mother. If the child is not available, the mother is the key point to work with through that child, and there's been just miracles. I work with young children, teenagers.
How do people find you though?
By word of mouth.
And it started with, did you just one day go, so now I'm doing this mediumship or clairvoyance or healing work? How did it start?
Well,
How did it become a business?
Well, a friend of mine, I used to share with a lot, a little bit. And he said, I have a friend of mine that I think would need your help. And she goes, really? She was a woman, I don't know, I think she's late 20s or whatever. And she says, great. So she came. She came and I worked with her, and she loved the work. She says, wow.
How did you know what to charge her?
Yeah, that was the most difficult thing in the
Right?
world. That is the most difficult thing in the world.
Because, like, you went from 0 to 60. Now you're doing this completely different thing. It's not like an article of clothing that you can say, well, it's made out of silk and it was, designed like,
It's a trust. It's a trust. You start, I was working with people for so long and I was not taking anything. So a friend
you started
of mine,
doing it as a gift to help
as a
people.
gift. People call me
and
just
way,
and then my friend was like, Grace, what are you doing?
You have to charge people.
And I said, but I don't know. I said, stop. God bless her. I love my friend Antoy. And she just used to yell at me all the time. She's from Jamaica. She's a tough girl. She used to yell at me. I said, girl, you got to charge. And I thanked to her because she said so many times that once I said, you know what, I'm done with the free gift, because people will not even say thank you.
I know. Okay, so when I was in feng shui school, one of the things that we were taught was that everything is an energetic exchange. So when you do, and when you start off doing like this work,
it's
I didn't get
the
paid.
Most challenge.
You don't get paid. You have to do a certain amount of work to get the experience, right?
Logical.
And to get your certification, you had to have a certain number of like business clients, nonprofit, residential, land, property, like so different kinds of. Before you get officially certified, so you start off doing it for free, and then you're kind of doing it for your friends and your family, whatever. And what happens is, and what they taught us in feng shui school is that if the energetic exchange of what you're giving them isn't reciprocated in some way, whether it's financial or you do an exchange, like
or lunch or dinner, doesn't matter, many things.
Then what you have given them loses its value. It won't work as well, or it may not even work at all, because the energetic exchange wasn't equitable.
Right. But there is another issue, that arises is because, in specific in my area, feng shui is a little different because it's something it's
Oh, and by
typical
the
from
way,
the East.
I suffer from the like giving it
Yeah,
away
yeah, we're giving
too
away.
much. I've stopped. I'm done.
Yeah. But from my angle, what was my challenge was this belief system, was a belief system, by the way, was a belief system that had that I should not, because if you're
Because
doing
it's a gift,
work,
you're doing
a,
something.
wo-
Yes.
a work of God, well,
Right.
you know, we got to be cautious of God.
You
God,
don't, you don't
you
want to be
know.
a John of God
Yeah.
and get super greedy,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
also need to make a living.
Yeah, I would like, if you're doing this work, oh, you should, you know, they would not charge, you know, a saint doesn't they not charge, they, because you grew up, like I grew up in Portugal, this my parents were not religious, but still you have in your bloodline, I have news for you, even if you are an atheist, but we have in our bloodline the marks and the memories of whatever religions that we have gone through.
Right.
So yeah, you may see, no, I don't have nothing to do with it. I never did. Actually, I was the ally at the priest instead. But still, they matter. It was somewhere in me that the good people, right, or the nice people giving, they never made any money. They're just begging for the bread.
Yeah.
And this, we don't realize how it affects us when we actually are guided, not only guided, you're just like thrown in the middle, like you start doing now, because otherwise you're going to go underneath the bridge. You have no way. I didn't have no way to make other money, because I started every business I started. My friend died. The other one ran away. Everything that I tried to do, it just disappeared until I said, okay, so what am I
So
going to do?
whenever-
I was forced to really in front. It said, this is it.
This is what you're supposed to be doing.
And I advise, don't go there, please, because I took it to almost the end. And to understand, I guess I needed to have the experience, which I'm grateful, but I don't advise anyone to do that. And
to do what?
To really doubt their gifts,
Yeah.
that can be at service and help others.
Right.
As far as be true to yourself. You know, you got to be true to yourself. You got to feel it. But make sure you clean yourself. Make sure you purify. You've got to use the sacred fires on a daily basis. Is the only way. There is nothing that can dismantle the patterns that we all have been imprinted, like a little cow imprinted those numbers. There's nothing out there unless the sacred fires. The sacred fires, it purifies all of it. It's an alchemy. And when you enter into the sacred fires, you can Google, you can reach out to me, or you can Google the Saint Germain, the violet flames, and you learn more about it. You do the meditation, you do the sacred fires to purify you. And when you do that in a daily basis with an intention, so you do gonna need someone a little bit powerful to probably take you there, but even started like that,
Right.
to
Okay.
really go.
So now I want to go back to where I was starting to go before. Yeah. Let's say I'm a client and I like word of mouth. I heard about you from Catherine and I come see you. What would we do?
Well, what we do is you would share with me. Usually the individual shares with me what it is bothering them, what is not
what's
working.
going on in my life, what's the pain point. Yes.
What's working, what's not working in my life, in other words, what's not working in my life. And from there we kind of I just become a vehicle, meaning I'm open door. I have no say. I mean, this body has no say. Right. Just now I have no say. Me, I don't want to get involved in anything. I say nothing. It's my greater, the connection within me and above me, my greater self, that brings in that power. Is the God, G-O-D, I mean the power, I rather do, the light, the love within you, that brings in that connection when you clear, to bring in the wisdom that is required to be at service. So I connect with your higher self.
Okay.
Your greater self, your self that, so my higher self, my greater self connects to your higher self.
Right.
To see what you require. I do nothing. I'm a vehicle. I will educate you So I'll come in to bring you to the understanding where are you at. Because if you don't understand, because this is very important, if this up here, our beautiful mind, if that beautiful mind is not having an understanding, the emotional body is not going to respond.
Right.
Okay? So we have to bring an understanding so you see, oh my goodness, this is where I am. Then you start realizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, realizing, oh my God, that's why I have this pain here. That's why I have a pain over here. That's why I've had these issues. That's why I've been depressed or sad, whatever's going on emotionally. So
Sure.
now we're connecting the emotional body.
Okay.
So you, as we apply, I said you have to plot the thing. You have to kind of squeeze it and all kinds of things. So you become more realizing. So this that I'm feeling is actually comes from here. Oh my goodness, or there. Wow, connected here, connected there, and that those connections. We look at it because it carries pain, wound, shame, blame, guilt, condemnation, all these things, that carries these restrictions, this anger, this rage, this anxiety, this madness inside. Right. And this requires to come out to the surface, like putting a boil in it. And through that, I am a being of the sacred fires. I'm always connected to the sacred fire. So I just assist you to go there without you realizing that you actually are dealing with your own deep stuff. Whatever your higher self sees, she can handle now. So this is going on, you realizing, and then you can get, depend. I've dealt with cases that are very sensitive, like sex abuse. I mean, very sensitive.
Absolutely.
At one point, that's all I used to attract. I was like, oh
people
my God.
who had been molested,
men and women.
It's
an intense subject here, and it was so sensitive to just bring them to a certain level of understanding. It's time trying to forgive themselves, because it's not us forgiving others, it's you forgiving yourself. It's the key. So when you bring you into a condition that you start realizing that sometimes there's lots of tears, sometimes there is anger and rage that comes out, depends the situation. And it's like your body becomes soft and pliable. As the body becomes soft and pliable, all the questions you had may have been answered before. So you go, that can, it depends the session. My regular sessions is 2 hours. Okay. So first of all, the first hour.
Do you have them in, like, you have an office?
I do it in my own. I go to their homes.
Okay, so both ways, depending on the situation.
Depending on the situation, some clients, they want you to go to their homes. Some other clients come to my place.
Okay.
So or I do a lot of work via Zoom.
Yeah, that's a thing now.
Yeah. So now most of my work, 90% or more, is via Zoom because I travel a lot.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Via Zoom. Zoom is the same way. I'm working with the client in the same way.
I mean, I started doing feng shui via Zoom like a while ago, before even the COVID thing. I was already doing that because then you can help people anywhere. And with video and pictures and floor plans, and whatnot. And you just need to see them. It's like you don't even need to. Like,
I don't need to see it, but it's lovely to see it because then you see the change.
Yes.
I have clients in Dubai, I have clients in China. I have clients all over the world. In Europe and here and there. Even here in LA, people don't want to come. They just want to be in their own clothes.
They don't want to get in the car and drive because,
But it's fine. They are cozy with their animals or whatever. They're all there. They're cozy and they receive Zoom. Yeah, well, it's a blessing. We have to recognize
it is a blessing.
Yeah. So I do a lot of that. So after that, then I'm going to put you through some breath work.
Okay.
Do a little breath work to connect things. I call the connectors. And then after that, you're just going to rest. You're just going to let go and let flow. And it's amazing.
So you do the breath work, you're clairvoyant. Are there any other modalities you
And then after that, I use the sacred fires.
What does that mean that you use the sacred fires?
Is
it a meditation that you do?
Is a mantra that I call, powerful mantra that runs through you through the power words of a purifying, cleansing, purified, that starts purifying your cells, your mind, your biological system, your mental body, your bones, your fascia, your tissue, everything stored.
Repeat those words, or do you just say the words?
Yeah, I say it.
You say the mantra, but
I give it to my clients, and then when my client, I give them tools along the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Along the guidance, facilitating the person to understand that they have to create a new attitude. This is the key. The key is to move the client from whatever they're stuck to a new attitude. And how you do that, you require tools. So I give those tools for the client to apply daily. Okay, so I don't call homework. I call blessings. Something you got to do. Because
self-care.
So you do that. So you do I give them tools, not a lot, because people never do nothing too much. And I also send a recording of the violet flames that I do. So at least they're connected to my voice and to my power as they're doing it. And if the client is committed, action in the moment, it's amazing what happens. I mean, you can. And then after the violet flames, then I cut the cords, the aka cords.
Mm-hmm.
All that is cleaned up. And then I refill it with and then we do the forgiveness, which is very important, with beloved Kuan Yin. And then we work with the fulfillment of the Divine Mother's love. And that is the fulfillment to just receive. And we go in silence. Could be 3 minutes, could be more, could be less. I'm guided, don't know. Until it's done, it's complete, it's cooked and ready to go. Then I say it's cooked and ready to go. So, and then the person, it's really beautiful.
How many sessions do you typically need to work with someone to help them in that way?
Well, I suggest. I've seen everything. I've seen a client, for example, yesterday, the day before, I had a client. She's from Israel. Imagine, I have clients from Israel, what they're going through. Bless their hearts. I'm very, very heartfelt to them. And she had seen me last year.
Yeah.
And she says, Grace, I need you. Okay. So she came in. She says, I'm disconnected. There is no brain. There is no body. I don't know where I am. I said, logical, you are disconnected. So anyway, all I have to say, after we, beautiful girl, after we finished, it took 2 hours and a half, by the way, but 2 hours and a half, she came out and she said, oh my God, I'm a new person. Her skin color had changed. Her eyes had changed. Her smile had changed. I've seen things in front of me that I'm just like, I had once a woman, she didn't have any neck, was like this in New York. Okay. I used to go to New York everywhere. Now I don't do so much stick. By the time we finished, she had a neck. I said, you have a neck? She goes, no. I said, go in the mirror. She goes, oh, I got a neck. Can
I get breasts?
I don't know. All because she was carrying such pain because her husband had really sabotaged her to very depth, and she for years and years was carrying. So her body. So what happens to the shoulders? I look at the body of an individual, right away. So what happens? Right? He's like a blind.
Yeah.
Get it? So this what occurs after you do that. A year after year after year, what happens? You shorten your neck. I remember when I had very little neck, by the way. So, yes, when you do the work, you know, as you said, how many sessions?
Depends.
It depends. I suggest 3 because I love the number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you do one, and then you can pass 2 weeks, you can pass a month, doesn't matter. Sometimes it's the agreement. You say, listen, Grace, I really looking at everything, my budget, everything, because it's very important we come in because we're wealthy. If we come in poor, then what are we going to get is poverty. We come in, I have ladies, beautiful women that I know the conditions and situations, and it's the importance is I am here to receive, and I'm here to honor it.
So
that is the key. So it could be a session once a month, a session I sometimes have twice a week. Sometimes I have clients do in a row because they go away and I don't see them for 6 months or a year. It's individual.
So now,
there
do
is
you
no
charge
protocol.
a flat rate?
Yes, I do for a full session. If it is in my home or Zoom, is 300.
Okay.
If I go to a client,
then you
depends
charge
where
for,
it is.
Yeah.
If it's in our area, 350, but it's further. I mean,
Yeah.
Still, So right now, the Zoom, then far away Zoom. My clients are clients that are like family. So they are repetitive clients, and those are the clients that refer other clients.
Right. And the word of mouth just builds and builds.
Yeah. Exactly. I just had a client that she went to everything and everywhere. Because she was a lady with a history, bless her soul, from Bosnia, from the war zone, which was horrific. No one talks about it. But those women suffered beyond. Her mom was, and she came as a little girl. So she was in adoption, many, many things. Her situation was she had the rage inside of her that she really could not even, she knew, she was very wise, very smart. She knew that she was destroying her family. And she had gone everywhere. And she says, I am tired of these charlatans, not going nowhere. No one is telling me anything. Psychiatry, all kinds of things. Anyway, that journey she shares with another client of mine. And she says, the only person I know, I am the one they send when they can't find anything.
Yeah.
Go to Grace. I'm like, okay. She calls me up. She comes. I have to say, that lady left. I saw her 3 times, by the way.
Yeah.
That lady left. I gave her the protocol. She followed the protocol. She says, Grace, the rage is gone.
That's wonderful.
So this is, and I know whenever she needs, she says, I know where you are.
Yeah.
So it's very challenging to say, how many do you need? It's you.
The person
It's
will
individual.
know. I mean, one person might only need one session because it's something,
Indeed.
but if it depends on the problem. How big is your problem?
Exactly. And sometimes opens up because you think you go there for one thing.
One reason, and then there's something else.
And I've worked with business, clearing the business, because the sacred fire is about clearing the space, but purifying because it purifies through the land. So I'm also called, I have done a lot of work in our world to clear the ley lines.
Yes.
I've done a lot of work all through the British Islands. I've done in Australia. I've gone in Europe, logical America. I've been called and guided through America, through the Native Americans. I was guided by the great archangels to go through a pueblo, and that was another great miracle in my life. It's like a movie, so it's very
another movie
that the scent of the rose again with my elder that passed away.
Oh, I'm so glad I have roses.
Oh yeah, isn't that fabulous? I love them. And so there is a guidance always with us. So the it's about that there is, it's not a problem. You know what it is just something that needs to be looked at.
Sure.
It's an experience. We all are experiences of our own lives, and we cannot grow if we don't have experiences.
Yeah.
And sometimes those experiences are not so pretty, right? But it's because we ought to learn, we ought to grow, we ought to know how to make a decision. I don't want that. Don't want that. Why? Because you already know that you don't want that. But if you don't know that, you may try it, right?
Okay. I have a question I want to
Sure.
ask you. And I think I'm going to make it a question I ask all my guests because it's a theory I have. I don't know if you'll relate to it at all, but
Please.
because you've had such a, spiritual life and you see the world not just one dimensionally. What are your thoughts? Have you ever heard of simulation theory?
Simulation, to me, the word, I go by words because that's another area that I work with the client, is with guiding
Mm-hmm.
the client, teaching, guiding the client how she or he is communicating with themselves and with their work. I guide the businessman how to communicate and how to address. Wording is a very important.
Sure.
Simulation, to me, is assimilating, is something that is assimilated one thing with the another.
All right, but let me tell you what the theory is.
Tell me about
And
it.
I have my own sort of interpretation on it, so I am going to put my spin on it.
Sure.
Think of, when they make a movie,
Sure.
sometimes they make it with different endings.
Right.
And then they have the audience kind of like, oh, in one version, the heroine dies, and in another version, she doesn't.
Right.
But, so simulation theory is that we are, this is like a movie.
Yes.
And we agreed to be in the movie.
Yes.
And play certain roles.
Yes,
and
that's very true.
You know what you were saying? We choose our parents, but because we're
in a theater. We create our own movie.
We wanted to experience this story.
Yes.
But we do it in different ways. So that's why how some people talk. This is my own kind of. Some of this is my interpretation of the theory.
Yeah.
But so how they talk about different timelines, right?
Yeah.
And I personally think we just jumped a timeline, but anyway, so I think of life as this performance art, right?
Yeah.
And we're just trying to get it right, and so we keep coming back and
trying to make it right, but we forgot what we did last time.
Yeah, it's like,
so we started again.
And maybe we make some of the same mistakes.
Yeah.
But I think that's why we need those messengers along the way to remind us, like, nudge us, like, hey, remember?
Exactly.
So
those are very important point when we have message experiences coming to you. There's in so many different forms and ways. It's really a pivotal moment in your life. It's something major is going to change.
Yes.
It's like, boo, that you get in a roller coaster and you just kind of go flow. And that takes trust and takes faith.
Speaking of roller coasters, I hate amusement parks.
You don't like that?
I don't like roller coasters. I don't like scary movies. I don't
like scary movies.
But I know a lot of people that love.
I know.
But if you love the scary movie and you love the roller coaster, then I think it makes sense why you would agree to come into a challenging life, because maybe you wanted that ride.
Yeah.
And that's, so when we get like all worked up about certain circumstances in our lives, it's like, but if we can imagine that maybe we signed up for it because we're like, oh, I want to get it right this time. Like I want that ride. I mean, like it's the challenge, I suppose.
Sure. And also, I mean, each one of us is an individual self. There is no other like me, no other like you, no other like anyone else. We are all unique, okay? Our source of creation is not of this world, okay? We have been inside of a box, matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We've been inside the matrix box where there was a seal all around, and that seal was created through the belief system and the conditions and the situations of this religion structure of there is some weird god up there that had the beer and would blame and would punish everyone, and everyone had to do all kinds of cults and things and stuff in order to find, I don't know, heaven. What does that mean? The devil is here within us. It's right here. It's not up there. Up there is light.
Well, you mean down there, down as opposed to
the
up.
devil is on people's heads.
Yeah, no,
It's on people's thoughts and actions.
right.
It's an energy. We all energy. It's the frequency that the person is resonating with.
Yeah.
You know, we are conscious beings. We're just not just a blot of meat walking around. We are conscious beings, and we have become, as a group, very dimmed down.
Right.
And some of us woke up a little bit because you got smacked here and smacked there. Otherwise, we also be old. So we can't blame anyone for where they are. We have to respect everyone where they are, because I give you an example, and this is you, as in your family, you're probably the only one that came questioning and wanted to know more. I'm the only one in my family that a little weird, right? They call it.
Yeah.
A little different. Or, the black sheep.
Yeah.
There's always a black sheep in the family.
black sheep in mine,
Okay?
for sure.
So that's it. We're just becoming a beautiful sheep now. But that's the way it was.
Swan.
Yeah, nice, a swan, the long neck. Elegance is our key, and beauty. So the point, so we have become this, this perception and this belief system in this box. But we all of a sudden start, okay, I want more. So we have the point, how to get out of the box is when you realize that
you have to think
as being
outside
an illusion.
of it. You have to think outside of it.
Yes, but the point, in order to think outside of it, you always have these invisible strings that brings you back to where you were. And these are the patterns.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you're being called back. I want that. No, you're being pushed back. And then you think you are feeling great and wonderful. And then later on, you're back in the sofa like pissed, angry, whatever the situation is. Could be a business falls, could be a relationship that falls, many things right around you.
Right.
That's a pattern. Why? Because the patterns, and that's one I say I'll consider an expertise. I'm an expert in looking at the pattern and unraveling the pattern.
Right.
Okay? And then that's why my work, my clients say, Grace, what should I say you do? I say, I don't know. Why? Don't you know? She says, but there's so many things and so much. You teach me how to speak. You teach me how to use different language, how to work, deal with my kids. With that. I don't know. With my business. What do you think? I don't know. But it really is. I'm this expert that takes these patterns apart, makes it like, look, can't you see it? And then I go, okay, are you still attached to it? You still love it? You still are? Okay, so we wait a little bit longer. And we go there. Someone says, I don't want it anymore. Okay. Then goes deeper, get it? The sacred fires, I'll do nothing. I'm the vehicle. The sacred fire she doesn't want it anymore. Okay. And we purify, you consume into love, mercy, and forgiveness. Right. And then your next step is to forgive yourself from getting where you got.
Right. But back to, and I think we should end with this.
Yes.
I think, it sounds like you believe in the similar concept of the simulation theory.
Sure.
There's only, but you should look it up because it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
But I think this life is a performance.
Indeed it is.
And we're just
in a theater.
Yeah, and I think we're trying to live our best life.
Exactly. You are the director of your own life.
Yes. And you're helping people, just for me to summarize.
Yeah.
Play the role of a lifetime.
Yes. Take ownership.
Don't be the background player.
No.
Be the leading
role that you came here to do.
Exactly.
That's exactly what be the leading role, and that leading role, if you change your attitude.
Exactly. So let's salute to the first guest.
Yes.
Grace, Thank you
Such
so
a pleasure,
much for gracing
Laura.
me and us with your
Thank
presence.
you, thank you,
And
and I
cheers,
bless you. And a
everyone.
glass of red wine is always a blessing.
Oh, and tell them where they can find you. I'll put it up on the screen as well.
Okay, my name, as you know, is Grace Vieira, at Grace Vieira 333 at gmail.com. Connectingwithgrace.com, that's my website. And my phone number is 310.
You sure you want to give them your phone number?
Yes.
Okay.
I am fine with it. 770-2048. Connect with me via text. Just say you've heard from our beautiful, beloved, dear Laura. And we then go from there, or send me an email. So it's my first name, my last name, 333 at gmail.com. Send me a little email if you need a quick advice. Just if you refer to our podcast, I will give you a 15-minute of honor of listening to what you ought to say, and I can give you a 5-minute of direction, and then you'll think if you'd love to enjoy to go ahead and work with me. Always a pleasure, a blessing. God bless you. We love you.
Salud.
Salud.
Cheers. All right, everybody. I love you. Ciao for now.